Everyone will get started here in just a minute. Ken, can you hear me? Is that clear? Testing 1, 2. Audio check in chat. Looks like Ken's come on. Great. Fantastic. Dawn, thank you. We'll get started. Sorry to have video tonight. I'm trying to kick my video camera on and can't get it to work, so I have to do video next time. Thomas Damati, great to see you. Had a great trip out in Las Vegas out there and debuted this presentation. So tonight you'll get to see it for the first time. And we're going to be talking about the new currency and ultimately how to create fast wealth, which I think a lot of people are looking for in today's business world. They're looking for something to kind of catch up from 2008. And great to see you on, Clay and Beth. Got Coin Girl on there. Dennis Regan from Vegas. Or Jeffrey James, great to see you. Oris Douglas, old acquaintance. Welcome, Oris. And John Wiley. Keith Bliss, great to see y'all. And we got somebody in the waiting room. Why would you be in the waiting room? All right. Okay. I'm hanging this software, folks, but let's go ahead and get into the presentation. I'm excited to be able to talk to you about the new currency tonight. I think many of you can see that, and by the way, if you have questions, you can post them in chat. Just make sure they're relevant to the presentation. Don't ask my age or anything like that or what I'm doing this weekend. I appreciate that. But the goal of this presentation is really just to show you a unique moment in time that you're in, and hopefully you'll recognize the parallels that I draw in this presentation and ultimately make a decision to learn more. We're kind of in a stage, I tell everybody it's like being in the internet back in 1991, and we were going around doing many of the similar things, but we weren't using fancy software like this and being able to connect with people all over the world, but we were actually going out and doing presentations in hotel rooms and running classified ads and just teaching people about the internet. And there was a lot of fear about the internet. There was a lot of uncertainty. People didn't know what email was. They didn't know what protocols were, HTML. And right now, we are so much right in the same time as that time. People are like, what's digital currency? What's mining? What are hash rates? And, that's where we are right now. And so I want to draw the parallel to those situations because one of the things I always ask people, I say, if I could take you back in time to 1991, would you all focus a little bit more on the internet? Because the internet was a disruptive technology. We're going to talk about disruption in this presentation. And while I'm at it, I'll just get into an introduction. I am the author of The Seventh Disruption, The Rise of the Digital Currency Billionaire. I'll tell you something funny. I don't know, there may be a couple other bestseller books on Amazon, but if there's more than 5 bestseller books on digital currency, I'd be really surprised. I'll have to go research it. But I know at the time when I published mine, there was only one other, and that was probably about 6 months ago. But yes, Candace, the sound is on. It seems everybody can hear it, so you might need to unmute your speaker. I guess I make that point just to let you know that I'm not special. It's just the moment in time we're in right now. Look at how many best-selling books are on the internet about the internet today on Amazon, and you can kind of tell the maturity of the internet versus the new currency and what we're talking about tonight. But I got my start back in the digital currency business in 2011 when I bought my first Bitcoins. So I've kind of seen the industry in the last 5 years mature, make its changes, kind of adopt, and very similar to the way the internet did from, say, 91 to 96 when it really lit on fire. And that ultimately, that's what changed the game for me in my life in being involved in the internet. I see it very clearly now. The only difference is we have these great technologies that we can talk to people all around the world about the new currency. And just to give you a little heads up, at the end of the presentation, if you haven't received the free ebook for watching the presentation, you get the Seventh Disruption ebook and audiobook for free. We also have the, if somebody could post the number in the chat for for the people who cannot hear it, that would be great. But we'll also be giving you we've got a new download of a Coin Lifestyle mobile app that will connect you to all of our educational resources and the digital currency to conduct your first transaction. And I got to tell you, I was really excited this weekend being in Vegas and doing a live digital currency transaction. It was amazing to see the response. And I'll talk about that once I get into the presentation, because I won't be able to show you a live presentation of doing a transaction on this presentation tonight. But I think we're going to make a video of the next one. We may even have it on video, but it was neat to see the room kind of spontaneously bust into applause. I mean, it was really cool to see how excited people were about the new currency. But the new currency is the biggest disruption since the advent of the internet. The new currency provides real financial solutions that people need right now. Mark my words, it will create trillions of new wealth, and it will reshape the way we live. The new currency is creating millionaires and billionaires faster than any technology in history. Fintech, financial tech, there's an investment category, is one of the top 3 fastest growing categories in venture capital. So we're all at the right time, the right place. If you need to get rich fast, and people hate that statement, but I tell people, I saw a guy with Ethereum put $50,000 into Ethereum and make millions of dollars, within 9 months. And so I don't know if that's getting rich fast to you, but it is to me, and it's pretty amazing to see what's going on today in the world to understand that people can create very quick wealth with digital currency, but you have to understand a few things. You got to understand mining. You got to understand how to buy the coins. You got to understand which companies to be with. And it's no different than the internet. I mean, you had to find the right business models, and you had to invest in the right management. So it's very similar type criteria, just a different world. But if you need a game plan for the new currency, I tell you, no problem. We've got you covered. The game plan's pretty simple. We want you to get educated, enroll in the Coin Lifestyle. We are all about education. We're about showing people the power of the new currency and how it works and what's in it for you and how you can get started in it. We want you to get experienced, conduct a transaction. We're going to give you the money to do your first commercial transaction outside of a government-issued currency. And I got to tell you, it's quite liberating when you do it. We also want you to get engaged, share the Coin Lifestyle, hold dinners at your house, go have luncheons, connect with people, and find groups that are interested in learning how they can take advantage of the new currency. And then ultimately, if you want to, we're very interested in having you live the Coin Lifestyle. We'll talk about what the Coin Lifestyle is right now. Coin Lifestyle is kind of a term that we came up with. It's a brand we came up with as a team. But we have a global community, over 1 million members worldwide, that are out there educating people on digital currency. It is very much a grassroots movement, just like the internet was when we were teaching people how to do emails and how to set up websites. It's the same exact thing we were doing. And I smile every time I think about it, because I feel like I've just transported myself back 25 years, and we're getting to do it again. And I got to tell you, man, the 90s were probably the funnest times of my life, in building businesses and investing in companies, and it was a great time to be alive. And but we're committed as Coin Lifestyle. We're committed to educating people on how they can create wealth and make the new currency part of their lifestyle. Our slogan's pretty straightforward: live where you want to live how you want to live, and create wealth doing it. There's a lot of people out there that are not living where they want to live. They're not living how they want to live, and they're definitely not creating wealth doing what they're doing. And that came from a slogan from a website that I was a partner in. We had a very similar slogan, and the only thing I really did is change the very end of it. But that slogan really resonates with me, because I have fortunately been unemployed for 25 plus years and have enjoyed a very good lifestyle because I've chosen to live by that slogan. And I hope you will too. But, the benefits of the Coin Lifestyle are available now. This is not a pre-launch. It's not a coming soon deal. There are people capitalizing on digital currency and the new currency right now. Now, let's go through the benefits real quick. And I've got examples at the end of the presentation, so you want to make sure you stick around. But benefit one is we're going to show you how to create more wealth, how would you like to reduce the cost of living by 90%? We're going to show you how to increase your buying power and reduce the cost of your products and services that you use every day. Benefit number 2, we're going to show you how to create more freedom. Many of you will have an opportunity to become a six-figure earner in the next 36 months. Guess what? Over 25,000 already have in the last 15 months. So if you think, maybe it's just, special people have the opportunity to do it, you're wrong. 25,000 people and over 700 people did $1 million in revenue in the last 15 months. So there's big money to be made here, folks, and it's fast too. I mean, I hate to tell you, but this market is moving very quickly, and I'll show you some internet adoption charts and compare it to digital currency. But it's possible that digital currency could be adopted in half the time that the internet was. Now, we're going to show you how to profit from the new currency with a proven online home-based business system from the comfort of your home or anywhere in the world. Because my camera is not working, you cannot tell I'm in Palmetto, Georgia right now, but I could just as well be in Argentina right now or Las Vegas doing this presentation. And that's what makes the business fun, is we really don't have any borders or boundaries to our business in that we can be virtual. But the new currency plus a home-based business can reduce your taxes as well. A home-based business is one of the greatest tax, a tax, I won't call it a shelter, but it's one of the greatest ways to maximize your taxes of anything that the U.S. government and IRS codes allow. But definitely speak with a qualified tax advisor to learn more about the advantages of being your own home-based business. Definitely you might be able to get some money back, or if you make a lot of money, you'll pay more in taxes, but you'll be able to write off your trips. For example, my trip to Las Vegas this weekend was a write-off for me because we were definitely doing business and meetings. So I prefer for my trips to be tax deductible than not be tax deductible. Call me crazy. Benefit number 3 is we're going to show you how to realize more control, protect your wealth from bank fees, inflation, depreciation, seizure, and even taxation. We're going to show you how to become your own bank and protect your money from the enemies of wealth, and there's a lot of them out there, folks, right now. But let's go through a real quick disclaimer. Digital currency is not for everyone. If your palms get sweaty, if you make more than 5% a year, this is probably not for you, because digital currency, the price of a digital coin can fluctuate 5% in a day. Okay, so it's definitely a little bit more erratic than, say, a CD at a bank. Okay, that would be the opposite end of the spectrum, where it doesn't fluctuate at all. If anything, it goes down in value. If you require a guarantee of the FDIC or SIPC or some trustworthy government organization, this is not for you, because this market is so new. There's not many laws in place. There's not much regulation. Bitcoin or digital currency in general has been classified as a commodity in the United States, so it does have some framework. The rest of the world kind of declared it as a currency, which is actually what it is. And, I'll also tell you, if you get investment advice from your best friend or relative who's broke, and don't take this to them, because they're going to look at it and go, "Are you out of your mind? You shouldn't be a part of that," But like I said, if they're broke, you might not want to get their advice anyway. And hey, folks, if you believe everything on Google is the truth, this definitely isn't for you. I know I was out in Vegas this weekend. I saw Elvis a couple times, but if you Google "is Elvis alive," you will see he really is. The first search result says he really is, contrary to the fact that he is actually dead. But be careful of what you believe out there. So the new currency is new. It is different. It's not accepted as the norm yet. But make no mistake, it is the Internet of money. Not the money of the Internet. It's the Internet of money, and I'll explain what that means. The new currency is the people's money. Okay, it's not the government's money. The government has really no domain over this because it's completely virtual and online. So it's really the domain of the Internet around the world, where people are using digital currency, and it's a very powerful network. But the new currency is a monetary system for people who desire 10/10 of the law. Now, I know a lot of you know what 9/10 of the law is. The law of possession. But the 9/10 of the law, that 1/10 exposes you to a lot of risk. I mean, well, let's pretend you live in Greece. You're a multimillionaire. All your money's in the bank in Greece, and you go to the ATM machine, and it says, sorry, we're unable to dispense more than $600 per week to you, even though you are a multimillionaire and you've earned all your money and all your money's in your bank account. We can't release it to you. Now you start thinking 1/10 of the law is kind of a big deal, isn't it? Okay? What if they put currency controls into place in the United States right when you're at the peak of your retirement? What are you going to do? Okay? So it's something to think about, especially after you look at the problems we're going to talk about in this presentation. I think it's important for you to understand where we are right now, folks, and be realistic about what the next 10 to 15 years holds for you. The last thing you want to do is go to an ATM machine and see that screen and know that all of your wealth is tied up and under the control of somebody else. I mean, imagine that. It's your money. You've earned it. You placed it in the bank, and all of a sudden you can only get out $600 a week. That would be real frustrating to me, okay? So the new currency eliminates 9/10 of the law because we're going to show you how to be your own bank and be 10/10 of the law. Identity theft, credit scores, 3-day holds on your money, banker's hours, depreciation and debt. The new currency eliminates all of these issues, okay? Mark Andreessen. Now, you all are looking through a web browser right now. Mark Andreessen invented it, okay? So I'd say the guy knows something about disruption. He knows something about innovation. But Mark Andreessen, who's the largest investor in the new currency, says the new currency will change everything. Now, I know your brother-in-law is smart. He's a good plumber and all that. But at the end of the day, when I get my financial advice, I listen to people like Mark Andreessen, okay, because they know where the new money is. They know where the new focus is. And Fintech, financial tech investing is one of the top 3 in the world, as I've already stated. But and by the way, Mark Andreessen also was one of the funders of Facebook, Twitter, Uber. So the guy has a real track record of making big deals. So let's follow his advice and believe in what he says. But you know what? With new technology disruptions comes new paradigms. Now, my wife didn't want me to use that big word, so I have to clarify it down there. It says it's a fancy word for a new way of looking at things. So we want you to look at how you transact business in the world differently, okay, using the new currency. Now, the new currency shift involves new terms, new brands, new processes, and new apps. You'll get to download some new apps, which is kind of fun. The new currency has limits, too, kind of like the Internet did. You know, there was a time at the Internet, well, you remember the fax machine came out? If your friend didn't have a fax machine, you couldn't send them anything, so that's what we call a limit. If your friend didn't have an email address, you couldn't send them an email. You know, when PayPal first came out, you know, if they didn't have a PayPal account, you couldn't send them any money from PayPal. And so everything that's new has limits, and the new currency has limited liquidity, a lack of awareness, a massive lack of awareness, by the way. You just go up and ask somebody and say, have you ever heard of digital currency? Have you ever done a Bitcoin transaction? You say that to 100 people, and 99% of them are going to say no, okay? It has limited acceptance. Not every business in the world accepts digital currency. In fact, probably 95% of them don't. And there's also lack of trust. You know, anytime there's ignorance, there's fear. And when there's fear, there's lack of trust. And we're okay with that because I think what everybody in Vegas saw this weekend when we did a transaction in front of the room, it blew everybody's minds. I mean, I told somebody when we left there, I said, today we created some conviction in the room because I don't think people really think it's real until they actually do a transaction and see that they can transmit value. Being their own bank, they can transmit value to somebody else with a click of a button on a mobile app. It's pretty cool. But the new currency also has negative media online. There are misinformation articles. We don't know who puts them out. There are cross-marketers that are marketing other products like binary options that tell you that binary options are a better investment than, say, digital currency. There's industry warfare going on within the business of Bitcoin not liking Ethereum and Ethereum not liking, you know, OneCoin. You know, there's infighting, if you will, as well, because they're trying to determine who's going to be the #1 digital currency in the world. And there's also yellow bloggers that are like industry bloggers that like to make comments, they like to be perceived experts, and they're really not. And ultimately, they're trying to sell something else. So you just got to be careful about who you listen to. I'm going to give you some names. By the way, you could go to CoinDesk.com. That's CoinDesk.com. Somebody will put that in the chat down there. Great. That's a great website to subscribe to and look at the articles, the credible articles of actually what's going on in the industry. And I think Crypto News has got good articles as well, CCL. But guess what other technology had many of these attributes in the early stages? Okay? You guessed it. The Internet did. So if you weren't there in the beginning, maybe you don't know this, but the Internet, man, people feared it. The Internet was going around saying they were going to take down the printing and publishing industry, and everybody was, it was just all kinds of pandemonium when the Internet first came out because people didn't understand it, and there was a lot of fear around it. And I know that I was on it in the very beginning, and I know it took a few years before my wife even got online. Heck, my wife just got a Facebook page a year ago, okay? So, you know, there's some people that just don't want to be online, you know, and they just, great site, must have a subscription. CoinDesk.com, yeah. They have great articles. You definitely want to, it's a free newsletter, so you can subscribe to that. But, you know what's interesting about the Internet is it created more corporate and individual wealth in 25 years than the Industrial Revolution did, okay? So if you would have been in the Internet and involved in it, you would have had an opportunity to be a part. Now, what I'm telling you about tonight is actually bigger than the Internet, okay? And it could be adopted a lot faster than the Internet. So the opportunity to make more money faster may actually happen with this versus the Internet. I mean, the Internet took a while to find its way. Yeah, I don't know if you all remember, but nobody really knew what business model was actually going to make money. And in fact, everybody was telling that the best Internet model was free. And but let's talk about disruption real quick. As I told you, I wrote the book called The Seventh Disruption, The Rise of the Digital Currency Billionaire. It is an Amazon bestseller, and you don't have to buy it. You can get it for free. I know somebody posted a link in the chat. That was actually, they can go to a website and get it, but I don't want the link posted for the free ebook. We'll get that to you through the website of the person who invited you presentation tonight. But let's talk about disruption. You know, in 1991, the Internet evangelists proclaimed that the information highway would shutter newspapers and large media organizations. The newspapers and media organizations laughed. Today, large printing presses that span 4 city blocks, that idlescape of the media publishing industry is disrupted and totally unrecognizable. I mean, look at the music industry alone. You know, a small company called Napster, a kid named Sean Fanning sitting in a dorm room at college took down the entire music industry with a website called Napster. You know, even though he lost in court, he won the day. You know, he may have won lost that battle, but he won the war because he changed the business model of the entire music industry. Today, the music industry is Live Nation, it's Clear Channel, it's iTunes. It's no longer RCA or EMI or, you know, Virgin Records. I mean, they knocked everybody out. They disrupted the whole industry. But I don't know if you've ever heard of any of these companies either. YouTube, definitely a disruptor in the TV industry and entertainment industry. WordPress, you know, Perez Hilton started his website on WordPress. Huffington Post started their website on WordPress. It's a free publishing software that allows you to be your own media organization. America Online. Who did America Online buy? As a 5-year-old company, it bought the 80-something-year-old Time Warner Corporation for multi-billions of dollars. It was a huge buyout, okay? And then, of course, Wikipedia. We know that Wikipedia disrupted a kind of a family icon name in the household, and that was Encyclopedia Britannica. But Wikipedia, definitely a free online encyclopedic resource, has really changed the way we look up information online. In fact, anything you look up, Wikipedia is typically the first search result, so that's pretty much dominating the market. Now, I mentioned to you that the Internet was the fastest adopted technology in the history of the world, and there are professionals in our industry that's saying that that we'll have full adoption of digital currency by 2025, okay? So that means that in 10 years, half the time it took the Internet to get adopted, currency could be the fastest adopted digital currency and technology in the world. Okay, that's pretty cool because that means I don't know. My goal was to be retired by 50-ish, so I'm getting close to that. And I like the idea of I don't mind working to 55 if I know I've got an opportunity like this to really buy a bigger sailboat. So this is the Buy a Bigger Sailboat fund I'm looking at. But the Internet as a technology platform disrupted companies, industries, and even countries. I don't know if you all recognize this picture, but a guy with a Twitter account and a WordPress account disrupted Egypt. And it started a revolution in Egypt using a free technology. So technology can be very effective. So the Internet was the HTTP of publishing. You all know that you put that in front of every website when you put it in. That's the gateway to get information from the information highway. Well, it disrupted everything relevant to publishing. As I said, music, newspapers, everything in the printing industry. But you know what? They say there's no such thing as a missed opportunity. It just passes on to the next person. And, looking at the Internet, I don't know if you all had an opportunity to invest in some of these companies. I know I did. I know that some of them I said I thought they would never make it, like Amazon.com. Wow, was I wrong about that one? But looking at some of these companies, if you all would have put $1,000 in each one of these companies and just let it sit there for 25 years, you all would be worth tens of millions of dollars. And the reason I'm sharing it, not to rub it in your face, is I just want you to know I'm going to show you some logos that are coming up here in a minute that are the future multi-billion-dollar companies, trillion-dollar companies that are going to come along and create massive wealth for people like you and me. And I'm excited about it because I've been looking for the next frontier, and I know that the new currency is that next frontier. But, how many of these investment or employment opportunities did you miss? If Apple started today, knowing what you know now, would you go to work as a janitor at the company just to get access to their stock program? I know I would. But if you embrace the Internet and information highway and got wealthy, great. Get ready for the biggest disruption of your life because this one's going to be a lot bigger and it's going to happen a lot faster. But if you miss the investing opportunities of the Internet, well, I got good news for you. You'll get a second chance with the disruption of the new currency. So disruption is more than a new product. It's a new life activity that changes the way we do life, okay? It creates a trillion-dollar marketplace. And to create a trillion-dollar marketplace, you must identify a massive problem and match it with a massive solution. And I'm getting ready to get into the crux of what we're here to talk about. But would you say that these companies here identified massive problems? You've got Microsoft, Amazon, Netscape. Netscape helped us view the Internet in a much easier way. Google helped us find search results in a better way. Facebook helped us meet people in a better way. Uber, amazing thing about Uber. Do you know Uber's got a $70 billion market cap? It's a transportation company, yet it owns no cars. Well, I take that back. They just did buy a fleet of Mercedes cars, self-driving cars, okay? But Uber, you know what the market capitalization of Ford is? $54 billion. And the market capitalization of General Motors is like $44 billion. So Uber, that has no cars, produces no cars, and it's the largest transportation company in the world. All they do is they match rides with cars. Uber's worth $70 billion. It's pretty amazing, okay? And let's see. Can you hear me now? Real quick audio check. Tom D'Amati, you said you lost me? Oh, we're good. Okay. So what is the massive problem that we're dealing with today? And I don't think this needs a lot. I don't need to expound on this too much. But 74% of people recently surveyed by Gallup distrust banks and government. Okay, that puts us at pretty much an all-time low, which is pretty scary. It puts you on fragile ground. 86% of baby boomers are not prepared for retirement. 1/3 have less than $1,000 saved. Bottom line is 40 million baby boomers have 15 years to get it right. In 11 years, 76 million baby boomers, 100% of them will be on the government payroll. Okay? Guess what? Social Security and Medicare is broke, and I'm sure Obamacare, not to make this a political thing, but I got a feeling that the Affordable Care Act is definitely going to add even more expenses to our government that we can't afford. But how do we pay for an additional 40 million people on the government payroll? And I'm just being a realist. I mean, you answer it to me. If you say, oh, yeah, no, the 84 million people coming behind them, their tax base will take care of us. Mathematically, they're proving it can't. So, you might want to look at that argument again. But be a realist and say, can you afford for a 2008 to hit you again in the prime of your retirement? Okay, some of you are 15, 20 years out. Can you afford to take another 2008 hit? And experts are saying we might take another one. There might be a very big reorganization of our currency system. Bankruptcy for individuals, companies, cities, and countries. Even countries are going bankrupt, folks, are at an all-time high. The USA is $19 trillion in debt with $60 trillion in unfunded liabilities. What's an unfunded liability? That's money that you've paid in that you're owed that they don't have. That's comforting, isn't it? In layman's terms, we're pretty much bankrupt. But, looking at some of the other countries, Spain, Argentina, Japan, Greece, Canada, Brazil is now getting ready to go through a financial crisis, and we don't know if China is getting close to going on one as well. So it's pretty incredible. But when you start issuing negative interest rates, kind of like Japan is doing and where we're headed as a country, when you start paying people to loan your money, to borrow your money, well, that means you're real. It's kind of like a Ponzi scheme, in my opinion. Call me crazy, okay? Got some experience there. But can we agree that we have a massive problem, folks, that needs a positive disruption? Absolutely. What is a disruption? Well, Jennifer, that's a good point. She says, I can't believe USA is on the list, but when you're $19 trillion in debt, and you have $3 trillion in assets, and you don't have enough tax revenue to pay the interest on your debt, last time I checked, that means you're bankrupt. Especially if you're in a situation where you can't afford to pay your bills, and that's kind of where we are right now as a country, which is pretty scary. So, what is a disruption? Okay, a disruption occurs when the value chain that is vital to the existence of a company, industry, country is cut, reprogrammed, or made obsolete. Let's look at some disruption examples. Who disrupted Blockbuster? I got anybody in the chat? Anybody come up? First one come? Netflix did. Very good, Teddy. TD. I don't know if Teddy or TD. Who disrupted? Well, I already gave that answer. Encyclopedia Britannica was disrupted by Wikipedia. My record company was disrupted by Napster. The fortunate ability to communicate with Jay Sammet, who was the head of EMI at the time, when Sean Fanning was sitting in the lobby waiting to talk to the head of the EMI, and they basically told him to go away, and that was probably the biggest mistake of their life. What or who has disrupted Kodak? Okay, well, I think that answer is pretty simple. They had digital cameras, by the way. Kodak had digital cameras. They were some of the first ones to come out with digital cameras. But I think mobile phones are ultimately what disrupted Kodak in a very big way. And then, of course, you got to look at Egypt. I've already talked about Egypt. What disrupted Egypt? Twitter and WordPress did. Okay, so here's 6 disruptive technologies that created trillion-dollar markets. I think you all will agree with me that TV was a big one. I didn't even put Turner Enterprises on here. This is the logo. Internet obviously was a trillion-dollar disruption. Email, mobile, e-commerce, and social media. Did you know the top 5 social media companies alone have a market capitalization of $500 billion? Just 5 of them. And that doesn't include all the ones in China and Japan and all around the world. But social media is gigantic. It's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Now, the new currency that we're talking about tonight is the 7th disruption. So those were the first 6 ones, and the new currency is the 7th disruption. You look at some of those logos like MoneyGram and JP Morgan and the European Central Bank. All of the logos you see around the outside are the companies that are probably going to get disrupted by the little logos that I have on the inside. You see Dogecoin, Bitcoin, OneCoin, blockchain. I could have put 30 other digital currency companies that are disrupting the financial markets as you sleep. As we speak, It is going on, folks. Whether you want to admit it or not, it is happening. It's just like Napster. The banking industry has been Napstered, and they don't even realize it. Last year, somebody sent a $150 million transaction over the blockchain of Bitcoin, and they did it instantly with no fees, no verification, nothing like that, a complete consensus-based transaction, and that's when that really got the bank's attention, when you can send that kind of money across a completely decentralized payment network more securely than you can through a bank. That turned people's heads very quickly. Now, the seventh disruption is, I told you the internet was the HTTP of publishing. Well, the seventh disruption is the HTTP of finance. Okay, it's the internet of money, not the money of the internet, the internet of money. Now, some of the new currency unicorns that you're going to see out there, unicorn is a future billion-dollar company. Some of these companies on here are already multi-billion-dollar companies already, and you don't even know their names. Okay, and I'll give you an example of one of them. That if you brought you Google today, let's say it's 2003 and I bought you Google today, you'd be ripping out your checkbook to try and become a founder of it, to be a part of it. Well, some of these digital currency companies, you have an opportunity to become a part of them now and benefit from it, but you got to get some education. You got to be able to, you got to learn to spot where the opportunities are, and that's what we're here to help you to identify. But some of these companies right here, from OneCoin, Ethereum, certainly Ripple Labs, Litecoin, Blockchain, M-Pesa is out of Africa, and they do $250 billion a year in revenue. It's an amazing company. It's like, I don't know, it represents like 40% of the GDP of Africa. It's an amazing company. There's a 60-minute special on it that you ought to look at. It's about a 13-minute special, and it'll really give you an idea how big this business really is. But who are the players in the new currency? Okay, you say, well, Tom, I know you wrote a book, you're an Amazon best-selling author and all that, but here's people that are a heck of a lot more credible than I am. Okay, you got Peter Thiel from PayPal, is a huge proponent of digital currency. Tim Draper is one of the largest investors he owns the Draper funds, and these are billionaires, by the way. Okay, so these are super credible, very successful people that are big proponents and backers of the new currency. You got Michael Novogratz from Fortress Investment Group, $55 billion fund. There's a CNBC interview of him talking to Maria Bartiromo about why he invests in digital currency. It's a great interview. Richard Branson holds a new currency conference on his Necker Island every year. Dr. Rusha Ignatova, she has created the fastest company in the world to do $1 billion in revenues. I'll talk about her company in a minute. But very bright lady, and she's called the Queen of Cryptocurrency. There's a good title for you. And you got Mark Andreessen, who invented the Internet browser, is the largest investor in digital currency. So the guy who invented probably the most prolific Internet tool is definitely the largest investor in digital currency. So wouldn't you say you want to kind of follow in his footsteps? I know I am, and I'm doing it every day. The Winklevoss twins, they founded Facebook before I think Mark Zuckerberg borrowed the idea from them. But they've done very well, and they've created the largest exchange, the first exchange in the United States where people can trade digital currencies, kind of like a stock market for digital currencies. Eric Schmidt of Google says that digital currency, the new currency, is a remarkable cryptographic achievement capable of doing amazing things on the Internet. And then, of course, Peter Diamandis has got quotes all over the Internet about what he thinks about Bitcoin in a very positive way. He runs the X Prize, and he's a founder of Singularity University, which is some of the most brilliant minds in the world. So here's 9 people that hopefully have a little bit more credibility than your investment advisor, than your brother-in-law or your plumber, or whoever you're going to go listen to for financial advice. I'm telling you, folks, you need to listen to these people because they're richer than you. They're richer than me. They're probably richer than everybody on this webinar combined, okay? And if we're going to make money, we need to follow smart money. And these people are smart money, okay? Now, let's talk about the Google of digital currency. I'm talking about a company that has done $1 billion faster than any company in the history of the world, okay? Now, if I had a company that did $1 billion and faster than any company in the world, wouldn't you want to own part of it? I know I would, okay? Call me crazy, but when I see somebody setting records, I want to be there, participating. Now, OneCoin did it in 12 months. The last company to do $1 billion in revenue took them 27 months, and that was a company called Groupon, which most of you are familiar with, okay? OneCoin has a track record of creating wealth in the last 15 months. It's incredible. Look what they've done. 25,000 people earning in excess of $100,000 a year, 700 earning in excess of $1 million, and the stat that I love is $4 billion in wealth created for its members in 15 months, okay? That's pretty incredible. So what's the media saying about the new currency? Okay, that's the other thing. I want to show you some credible news stories, kind of like Wall Street Journal. Wouldn't you think if it was on the cover of Wall Street Journal, it would have a little bit of credibility? Well, it says that this subtitle, "For Bitcoin's Growing Pains, it represents the future of money and global finance." That's good enough for me. I like seeing that kind of title stretched across the Wall Street Journal. I don't know about you. Inc. magazine, Bank of America, the largest bank in the United States, says Bitcoin will be a serious competitor to cash. Okay, well, thanks for affirming that. We already know that. Forbes magazine, a guy named Steve Forbes owns a magazine called Forbes magazine. Figure that one out. How Bitcoin will end world poverty. That's an awesome article that talks about the underlying mission of what this is all about. Goldman Sachs, 2 years ago, Goldman Sachs said they wanted nothing to do with digital currency. Now, their report says digital currency, the new currency, could shape the future of finance. Okay? CoinDesk. There's CoinDesk, by the way. That's a great website for you all to subscribe to. And how about this? A blog of a billionaire worth $7 billion says how digital currency could change to transform the world. Okay? I don't know about you, but I love Richard Branson. I mean, the guy, anything he does touches, it turns to gold. Anything he touches, and he's just got a knack for knowing what to be in. And he says digital currency could transform the world. Okay, so I'm excited about being on his team. Now, bottom line, the new currency makes banks and credit cards obsolete. It really does. Fact, we no longer need a bank to conduct a secure transaction of value. And if you're in a live seminar like we were in Vegas this weekend, this is where I pull somebody from the audience. We have them set up an e-wallet in 2 minutes, and we did it with Sheldon Katz. And I got to tell you what, it was so neat because his e-wallet was up on the screen, and I just pulled out my app. I zapped his QR code, took a picture of it, scanned it, and sent him. I said, I owe you $5, don't I, Sheldon? He says, no, I think it was 10. And so I said, you're right. And so I sent him $10, and the minute I hit the button, both computers made a binging sound, okay? And the whole room broke into kind of a spontaneous applause. People were blown away that we did a transaction on Saturday without the need of a bank. I transferred $10 in value to Sheldon faster than you could blink your eye. It was really amazing. But I hope to figure out a way, or if I can get a recording of that and put it on this presentation. I know I'm going back to Vegas in April, and maybe we'll get a professional videographer there to video that event and create it so we can, because I can show video on this presentation as well. So here are 4 compelling reasons to stop what you're doing and start mining the new currency. Okay, this is where it gets fun, so hang in there. Okay, number 1, you get to become the bank. With the bankofyou.com. How does that sound? Does that have a nice ring to it? No fees, no holds on your money, no identity theft, 10/10 of the law, meaning ownership. And by the way, I want to mention, I'll back up a screen on this one right here. I met with a Korean lady, and we did this with her, and her eyes lit up, and she said, I want you to come present to the Korean Business Association of Atlanta, and I want you to do this in front of the room and show people how you just did that. She said the Korean business community will go crazy when they see how easy it is to set up a digital currency wallet and actually transact value. And, folks, we're building the people's monetary system, okay, not the government's monetary. We're building a way where we can conduct business with each other without interference of the government, okay, and I like that. I like that type of freedom. I'm a bit of an anarchist in that way. Call me crazy, but that gets me excited, okay. Reason number 2, appreciating currency. What if your currency grew in the value like the stock of Apple, Microsoft, or Dell? I mean, Dennis Regan, could you imagine if you had invested in, let's say you had $500 and it grew in the value of Apple stock, from 91 up until now, you'd be a multi-millionaire many times over just because your currency grew in value. Well, I like that idea, folks. So here's an example for you. Follow me on this one. Tom pays Bob $1,000 for consulting services. Bob deposits the money in his bank for safekeeping. 5 years later, that $1,000 is now worth $896. Now, why has it gone down in value? Inflation, depreciation, and bank fees. That's why it's gone down in value. So here's scenario number 2. Tom pays Bob $1,000 in the new currency for consulting services. Bob keeps the money in his e-wallet, his coin wallet, because remember, he's the bank, okay? Bob's digital currency appreciates 10 times in value over 5 years, giving him $10,000 in purchasing power from the one consulting job that he did a single time. So you're thinking $896 versus $10,000. So the new currency is starting to look a little bit more appealing to you, isn't it? But one problem, you're skeptical. You say, Tom, wait a minute. 10 times appreciation is ridiculous, right? Wrong. The average growth of some of the top digital currency companies exceed 100x. A couple of them have done 300x, and one of them did over 1,000x in the last 5 years. Okay? So I actually downplayed the numbers by 90% just to show you that I want this thing to have credibility in mind. There are people who invested in Ethereum just a year ago at 10 cents, and it's sitting at $13. That's a 1,300x performance since 12 months ago. Put $1,000 in it, next thing you know, Jed's a millionaire. Here's some of the charts just to back up to my claims. 10 cents to $400 just on Bitcoin. Litecoin, 10 cents to $7, almost $10. It reached $10 and came back down, and it sits around $6 or $7. Still a 600x% return on your money. Ethereum from $2 up to $6 in like half a year. No, it was from December 15th. That's in 4 months. Your money could have gone from 10 cents to $6. Okay? Pretty incredible. But you have to know you're there, folks. You got to know where you are before you can place your money in these types of companies. Okay? OneCoin goes from 10 cents in January of 2015 to $6.40, I believe it's at right now. $6.40 in a year. Okay? That's a massive return, folks. That's a 600x on your money. So I told you 10x on 5 years. I'm showing you 600x in 1 year, okay? So, and by the way, there will be other companies coming out with digital currencies, maybe like PayPal, maybe like Amazon. There will be large companies coming out with their own digital currency, and I'm going to teach you the one thing you need to know to spot the buying opportunities of when to get in at the very beginning, where you put a little bit of risk capital into some of these different companies. But we've got great opportunities, folks. It's a very bright future. But here's reason number 3. What if it took less money to buy the same products and services that you use each year? You all realize that the price of milk has gone from 38 cents to $3.83 a gallon in the last 70 years. Why? Is it because milk costs more money to produce? No, milk doesn't cost more money to produce. In fact, it's cheaper to produce. Okay? What happened is the dollar that you use to buy the milk has depreciated 93% in 70 years. So that, and by the way, the majority of that decline has come in the last 20 years. So the inflation on milk from the 70s until now has been tremendous. Okay? So what's happening, folks, is your money is losing value. Now, I'm going to paint a visual in your mind real quick. Okay, have you ever run up a down escalator? Okay, so you're looking up the escalator, it's coming down. Have you ever run up a down escalator? Okay, well, if you say yes, you know your mother told you not to do it because it could tear your kneecap off or your fingers, your arms, or your head or whatever. But running up a down escalator is the same as using a dollar that depreciates in value. Think about it for a minute. You've been working for 20 or 30 years, and you've lost 50% of your buying power in the last 20 or 30 years on the money that you're trying to accumulate. You are running up a down escalator, okay? Because financial freedom is at the top of the escalator. So what we're proposing, folks, and I'm going to get some visuals, some slides for these so we can follow along in the next presentation, but I think it's important that you understand that running up an up escalator is a better idea. You'll get to retirement faster if you use the new currency, which has the opportunity to appreciate in value rapidly. So let's look at this example right now to see if you understand what I'm saying. In May 2015, Tom has 1,000 digital coins worth 50 cents each. He has $500 in purchasing power. In May 2015, same month, same year, he goes to buy a hamburger at the Hill restaurant. I do it every Friday. I go have a hamburger at the Hill restaurant with a sweet tea. And it cost me $15. So it cost me 30 of my digital coins. 30 times 50 cents is $15. So that leaves me with 970 digital coins. Now, January 2016, I'm sitting with a good friend of mine, Brent Patrick, and we're talking about how to explain digital currency to people, the example that we talk about. But 10x later, Tom has 970 coins valued at $5 each. So the same 970 coins I had is now worth $4,850 of purchasing power, okay? I buy a hamburger at the Hill restaurant for $15, still the same price. It costs the equivalent of 3 digital coins. 3 times $5 is $967. Here's the problem, folks. You all have been conned into believing it's the price of something that matters, not the unit purchasing with it, okay? So when you think about it, would you rather have a dollar worth more than a dollar, or would you rather have your products more expensive than what each year, okay? And that's kind of where people are right now, is they're spending more money for products that are also increasing in price as well. So the idea of having 3 coins to buy your hamburger, I'm now left with 967 coins. Well, my units of value will stretch a lot farther with that scenario than they will with the first scenario, okay? So reason number 4, there's an early bird mining opportunity in the new currency. What if you could acquire currency at a 50 to 90% discount before it reaches the public market? Well, that's what mining is all about, folks. Here's a great example. Let's say Ben Bernanke, let's see, I've got Jennifer on there. Jennifer, let's say Ben Bernanke calls you. He's the head of the Federal Reserve, or was at one time. And he said, Jennifer, in 90 days, we're going to issue a bond offering to raise money for the United States government, okay? And we're going to issue bonds at $1 per bond, let's say. The par value will be $1. But we need some capital today, Jennifer. And if you'll give us, $50,000, we'll give you the bonds at 25 cents each, okay? And when they go public, you can sell them to the general public for $1, okay? So basically, you just bought dollars at a 75% discount, and you have the opportunity to now profit when those bonds get issued to the general public. Well, guess what? Mining is the same thing with digital currency. We are rewarded because we are putting in the money up front, the paid-in capital, the paid-in energy. But mining is where the big money is made in the new currency. Miners are rewarded with currency at a deep discount for bringing coins into general circulation. So all you are doing is you're putting up the initial capital or the initial energy to bring the coins into circulation. Mining is similar to receiving founder stock in a startup company where you get stock at a deep discount, and when they go public, you benefit in a very big way. Now, mining requires no technical skills, just paid-in capital or sweat equity. Let me sip of water here. Hold on a second. Mining and educational packages will range from $700 to $1,000, $100,000. Excuse me. So if you want to get rich fast, folks, and we're coming to the end here, thank goodness, because I think my voice is going out, but get fast. Now is the time to start mining the new currency. I'm not just talking about mining one currency. I'm talking about building a portfolio, folks. I'm talking about identifying 5 or 6 companies that you can put, $5,000 or $10,000 in, or $25,000 or $100,000, whatever your budget is. Okay, definitely a high risk market. Okay, definitely something you always invest in higher risk stuff. You put money in that you can afford to lose. Okay, this is not something you put your life savings into. So I want to be very upfront. I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just telling you, be smart. Okay, have some common sense. So the opportunity is now. It's bigger than the internet. It's truly disruptive. It solves a massive solution. It provides solutions and benefits that people want right now, and the time to mine is right now. So I'm going to leave you with some questions. Do you have a plan B? What is your plan B? How do you expect to create wealth with a currency that depreciates rapidly each year, that's faced with some pretty dire circumstances given the current demographics of our country? If your government currency goes bankrupt, what will you do? And if I could do it in Samuel Jackson's voice, I'd say, what's in your e-wallet? So, folks, it's been a real pleasure being on the presentation with you tonight. There's a lot more for you to learn. This just begins the journey. We want you to get back with the person who introduced you to the new currency and begin your journey today. I want to thank you for being online. We'll be back here on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, and then I'll be doing a Wednesday noon presentation as well. I'll put out the schedule. But you'll have the opportunity to invite people to this presentation so they can hear the overview live, and just very excited about, looking at the opportunities in digital currency, partnering with you to become an evangelist for the new currency industry and sharing it with people around the world, because we have a lot of unbanked people around the world that will benefit in a very, very big way. But great to see everybody online. Dennis, thank you. Rich, Rusty, Jennifer, thanks for being online. And, yes, definitely, Jennifer, Ethereum is a great coin to look at, as well as some others. But, folks, move forward. Begin your learning process today. Get back with the person who invited you. Get involved in our coin lifestyle system. The person who invited you can show how to do that. And we have all kinds of educational videos for you to watch. Nathan, great. Have a good night, everyone.